Welcome back. We're going to try and squeeze in a couple of other seriously important stories going on today. Some new migration statistics that will turn your hair. I mean, they're shocking. 850,000 migrants have been given long-term visas over the last year. 850,000, that's legal. So these are people waiting to, they've come 850,000. So on this madness goes. And we need to talk about Mike Amesbury, don't we? The thug former Labour MP, got kicked out of the parliamentary party anyway. He's the guy who beat up one of his constituents, was sentenced to 10 weeks in jail. Well, he's successfully appealed, and a judge has now suspended that sentence, which a lot of people are saying two-tier justice. So you can beat the hell out of someone really badly. We'll show you the video lately, but you better not write hurty words on Facebook or you get 3 years. Two-tier justice, absolute disgrace. The people of Runcorn, who he represents, though, still have the right to get up what they call a recall petition, which would trigger a by-election, which many people believe that despite Labour's massive majority there, reform could take. They could maybe win that. So interesting times. We'll try to get to that story, but we must concentrate, of course, on events in Washington. We're waiting for this the full press conference. Everything's always late in politics, isn't it? It's never on time. It's supposed to be at 7 o'clock. They're still sitting in the Oval Office at 7 o'clock. Anyway, let's just play this first before we get to another discussion point I want to bring up with you, Greg. This is the moment. This is the money shot that Starmer had clearly meticulously planned, handing the Donald an invitation for a state visit to meet the King and the royals and all those castles and all that. He loves that, old Trump. Here it is.
It is my pleasure to bring from His Majesty the King a letter. He sends his best wishes and his regards, of course, but he also asked me to bear this letter and bring it to you. So can I present the letter from the King to
Thank you very much. Am I supposed to read it right now?
Yeah, please do.
I will do.
I've got to tell him what your reaction is, so I need to know.
He is a great gentleman. A great, great gentleman. That is really nice. I must make sure his signature's on that. Otherwise, it's not quite as meaningful. It is, and that's quite a signature, isn't it? Beautiful. He's a beautiful man, a wonderful man, and we appreciate it. I've known him, gotten to know him very well, actually. Yeah. First term and now second term. Perhaps you'd like to say what that very important paragraph...
Yes, so this is a letter from His Majesty the King. It's an invitation for a second state visit. This is really special. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented. And I think that just symbolises the strength of the relationship between us. So this is a very special letter. I think the last state visit was a tremendous success.
It was.
His Majesty the King wants to make this even better than that. So this is truly historic, an unprecidented second state visit. He wants to talk that through with you.
And that says at Windsor. That's really something.
That's a bit excruciating, isn't it? God, I don't know what to say. I think I feel sick. We've got a sick bucket at all, but seriously. But obviously, a good ruse, and Trump will be flattered by that. He loves Britain, he loves the royals and all that. So an inevitable thing for Starmer to do, but he didn't do it very well. He never does anything very well, does he? What I wanted to ask you, Greg, was this. Now, the backdrop to these talks, such as they are, between Starmer and Trump, is this. Trump demanding of the European leaders, including Britain, the NATO countries, that you start paying a lot more of your way when it comes to defence. That, France and Germany, I think, are less than 2% of their GDP. They're supposed to pay 5%. We were 2.3%. Now, Britain, or the Labour government this week, have been making this huge song and dance. oh, we've really stepped up to the plate. The president said we've got to pay 5% of our gross domestic product towards defence. 5%. And how? You know, these are difficult times. So what we've done is we've set up a roadmap in order to increase from 2.3% to 2.5% by 2027. Now, I heard 2 nights ago that already Donald Trump is incredibly unimpressed by that.
Right.
And he might be able to point out when Keir goes, oh, we've stepped up to the plate, we've done what you said. He might be able to say, wait a minute, mate, you said that it's going to take you 2 years to get to half of what I demanded.
Right.
I don't think that Trump is loving this. You know, Keir has gone there, Starmer has gone there as if, yeah, right, we've done our side of the bargain. No, he hasn't.
Yeah, and it's completely inadequate.
Yeah.
And I think anybody in the military here in the MOD would argue that that's completely inadequate and not enough. But, you know, and it's just a rounding error in many ways. And also consider, you know, he's also proposed to pay Mauritius a good chunk of money that will come out of that military budget. So now that might be worked out if Trump rejects
Trump's going to veto.
Yeah, he should, and I hope he does.
We all hope
Yeah,
it.
of course.
So David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary, yesterday, and he's over there as well. He wasn't even allowed to go in the official car.
He's at the kids' table.
Yeah. So he came trotting up on foot afterwards. It's probably a good idea. Keep Lammy away from it. We'll never achieve anything if he's involved. But he did say yesterday. Actually, the British press seem to forget this. I always had it on board. This was in place for the last couple of months before Trump even came to power during the interregnum, you know, when he was he won the election, but waiting to come into the White House and actually take the reins. It had, but Keir Starmer, in a rare moment of clever diplomacy, said we won't do anything without getting America's agreement. So what Lammy said yesterday wasn't new. But he reiterated that President Trump, America, if you like, has the veto on this deal, this ludicrous, bizarre, baffling deal that Britain seems to want to do on the Chagos Islands, the very strategic Chagos Islands. Diego Garcia, one of this archipelago of islands, has got this airstrip that's used by America a lot and us. And, you know, basically America and Britain, the West, we patrol, we have a look at China, we look at the Middle East from there. It's incredibly strategic. For some reason, Keir Starmer wants to give Mauritius like something like, I think it works out about 9-10 billion pounds.
It's insane. I'm surprised
to take it off. You know, why?
I'm surprised he's waited this long. I mean, I'm sure he'll reject it or veto it, but it's completely obscene. You know, obviously, and
it's also confusing.
And you know, this started with the Tories, believe it or not.
I know. That was James Cleverly. I don't know why he started the ball rolling, but I can't believe that a Tory government would have carried on with this process. But unless you view this through the prism of a bunch of stupid, liberal, Guardian-reading North London lawyers, a la Keir Starmer and Richard Hermer, who's our Attorney General, who somehow or other, you know, like they just want to get rid of our colonial influence. There's no reason for this whatsoever. Mauritius is 1,300 miles away, 1,300 miles from these islands. It has never once had sovereign control of those islands. So we're not giving them back to Mauritius. We're giving them to Mauritius. And Mauritius, by the way, great friends with China, so there's another big mistake. Mauritius basically said, well, all right, and then, but they said, well, what's in it for us? Oh, we'll give you billions and billions of pounds, but you've got to let us keep renting Diego Garcia. The only reason I think that Starmer and his stupid North London lawyer Guardian reading friends are trying to do this is because they believe they're breaking up the evil old British Empire. It's about destroying colonial guilt, which is insane.
Right. It's obscene. And Starmer's friend was on the ICJ. He was one of the people on the committee at the ICJ, and nobody, obviously, Trump doesn't care about the ICJ or the International Criminal. What is it? The International Criminal Justice Court or whatever.
International Court of Criminal Justice.
Thank you. It's just another multilateral institution that Trump definitely doesn't care about. So I hope he gets busy on this.
Yeah, I mean, I hope this comes up on their agenda, their private agenda at least. I would imagine, I mean, if any of the British press especially are worth their salt over there, when this press conference finally happens, half an hour late now, one of the questions must be to Donald Trump, well, the British Foreign Secretary says you've got power of veto over the Chagos Islands. What are you going to do?
I hope he says it right there.
I hope he says,
would be great.
We're not going to let it happen. Yeah. Exactly. That would be a great moment.